Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Dr. Heldman here, Ancient Texts Revealed. In this video, we've talked a lot about AI. There's a lot of dialogue about AI and how good it's going to be. There are people that are talking about how very evil it's going to be. Personally, I'm somewhere in the middle. I think there are really good parts of it, and I think there are evil parts of it. And this movie is about something that I think we should discuss both in the old and the ancient world and what's happening in the new, and the topic is necromancy. It's kind of a dark topic. I apologize for that, but I think it's something we all need to be in know about and be aware of. Let's get started. I've entitled this video Necromancy, both ancient and modern, and the truth is that necromancy has never gone away. It's still around, and now it's been incorporated into AI, and I'd like to talk about that with you for a minute, if I might. Now, back in the Bible days, there was a king, and his name was Saul, and he was trying to get God to help him, and when he thought that God was silent, he took matters into his own hands. He went looking for some sort of a voice that could help him. Now, there was an old prophet, his name was Samuel, and he had passed away. And so Saul thought, you know what, I will go and see if I can consult Samuel about this matter that he had in mind. He looked in the one place that God had explicitly forbade. And so the story is told in 1 Samuel 28, 8 through 11, and I will let you look that up on your own. It's a quick read. It's a good read as well. But the story in a nutshell is this. Samuel the prophet had died. There were Philistines around that were surrounding, they were putting pressure on King Saul, and you should be aware that the Philistines were the Nephilim. They were giants. They were very wicked, evil, big men who wanted to kill everybody around them, or at least bring them into slavery. Now, Saul was terrified. He visited the witch at En-dor. Now, you're going to see En-dor spelled E-N-D-O-R. There's actually a dash in that because in Hebrew, the word En means spring. So it's saying spring of door is what it's saying. Anyway, he visits this witch. She's living at En-dor, and he visits her at night. And he asks her to summon Samuel's spirit. Now the witch reluctantly complied, and Samuel appears, and he rebukes Saul for disturbing him. Samuel turns around and tells Saul of his imminent defeat, and Saul's downfall occurs the very next day. This is found in 1 Samuel 31. Specifically, King Saul's sin was necromancy. What is that? Well, the definition, or one of the definitions, is seeking knowledge and guidance from the dead or from a medium, a sorcerer, in other words, a witch, who claims access to the dead. Are there people around here now like that? Let me just ask you a question. How many of you have ever had your fortune told? If you've gone to a fortune teller, you are consulting a medium, and that is off base to you, that is off limits, because they occasionally are going to say that they're talking to the dead. Dead husband, dead wife, dead child, whatever, that is necromancy. Now what Saul did, this makes it even worse. So Saul disguised himself. He was signaling his shame and his secrecy because he knew what he was doing was wrong. So he disguised himself, and of course he was the king, so it would have been evident to the witch who he was. So he had to disguise himself. He asked for a ritual to, quote, bring up. Now this was an act. This was not a prayer. He was not praying to God. He asked the witch at En-dor for a ritual. The witch hesitated because Saul himself had outlawed that very practice. Saul swore human, not spiritual protection for her. And the bottom line is that Saul was seeking revelation outside of God's approved methods. And this is the bottom line with necromancy. What this means is that we don't trust God to give us the correct answers. What we do is we're looking for answers outside of God's purview. Now, necromancy is explicitly forbidden in the Bible. Here's some examples. Leviticus 19:31. Do not turn to mediums or necromancers. Do not seek them out, and so make yourselves unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. In other words, turn to me for your answers is what he's saying. Leviticus 20:27. A man or a woman who is a medium or a necromancer shall surely be put to death. They shall be stoned with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. And then here we find in 1 Chronicles specifically talking about Saul, chapter 10, verses 13 and 14. So Saul died for his what? His breach of faith. He broke faith with the Lord in that he did not keep a command of the Lord and also consulted a medium seeking guidance. So here now we're getting the point that mediums equals necromancers, necromancers equals mediums. These are people that claim to look and be able to talk to the dead. It is forbidden to you. He did not seek guidance from the Lord. That was his chief sin. Therefore, the Lord put him to death and turned the kingdom over to David, the son of Jesse. Now, your question is probably going to be, okay, was this really Samuel? I do not think that it was, and if you go look at theological references, there are 3 layers of thought, 2 of which I have struck out because I don't think that this is the truth. The first theological answer you get is that Samuel truly appeared as allowed by God's allowance, not by the medium's power. I do not believe that. I believe that Samuel was actually what we call a familiar spirit. This was an evil spirit that appeared to him. This is what I think. I think that the appearance by Samuel was a demonic deception. You know, the enemy wants to deceive and to delude us, and that was what was going on here. And certainly the enemy knew who Samuel was and what he looked like, and the enemy has the ability to shapeshift and could easily pull this off. The third one is a vision or an illusion or other literary or theological device, and this goes against our idea of a literal hermeneutic when we're saying when the word says it, by golly, but we believe it as literal unless it's proven otherwise as allegorical, which in this case it is not. We're not told that it is allegorical. We're told that it is literal, and so we have to believe it. So I rule out number 3. I personally think that this was a demonic deception. Now, another person thinks this as well. This is Tertullian, a very famous ancient church father, and he said that the figure was a demon impersonating Samuel. Got a little graphic here that I think is pretty interesting. You can find this in the article A Treatise on the Soul by Tertullian, chapter 57, and I will put a link down below in the show notes so you can go read this. But this particular graphic says demonic deception versus divine truth. Now see, that's the juxtaposition there. Are we seeking the truth from God, or are we seeking a different sort of an answer? This is very common in society today. Now this was Tertullian's view on it. The deception was magic and sorcery. Magic is empowered by what he called demonic imposture. Evil spirits operating under the guise of the dead to deceive the living. This goes on all the time. This happens in TV and in movies and etc. It relies on illusions and on phantoms. Magicians create incorporeal apparitions to trick the senses and not genuine resurrections. Now, think about that. If Samuel appeared to Saul, that would be a resurrection, would it not? Because he has been brought forth from the dead specifically to appear to Saul, and mediums are not able to resurrect humans. And of course, the ultimate goal is to destroy the faith. This deception, this is Tertullian's words, seeks to overthrow belief in God, God's resurrection, and his final judgment. So Saul wasn't having it. He didn't go to God because he didn't want the answer that God would give him. Instead, he chose another source, and this is evil. And you're asking the enemy to deceive you and to delude you. Now, the truth of divine resurrection is only God possesses true power over death. The power to genuinely recall a soul to its body belongs solely to God. True resurrection is physical and it is verifiable. Unlike magical phantoms, divinely resurrected bodies are solid, they are palpable, and they are real. And the purpose is to prove God's authority. Miraculous resurrections are performed as proof of God's transcendent rights. Now, over the decades, I'm sure you can think of a variety of movies and television shows in which somebody that was dead shows up. This is a very common theme throughout Hollywood and throughout television, and it's something that you need to pay attention to, and do not take it literally. This is not true. This is a delusion and a deception from the enemy, whose name is Satan. Now, necromancy is alive and well on the earth in the 21st century, and in fact, it's going to go a little bit further, and I want to demonstrate that to you. TVs and movies overflow with the themes of contacting, channeling, or speaking with the dead, and now AI has gotten involved. There's a new AI company, and it's called 2WAI. It's pronounced two-way. This is an AI company, and they make an app, and the idea is kind of solid in a way. This app was started by an actor named Callum Worthy, and a Hollywood producer named Russell Geiser. And the company's introduction line says, "Welcome to Two-Way, where human connection is reimagined in the age of AI." Now, the primary idea behind this app is to create avatars, they call them holo avatars, that represent humans or other beings, and they can represent humans from way back. For example, there's an avatar that looks like Shakespeare that can be manipulated by the technology user. So that's the basic idea in a nutshell. Let's take AI, let's make these avatars talk to us and explain things to us. That's the sort of an idea that Two-Way is involved with. Now, I don't overall have a problem necessary with some of the goals of Two-Way, but there is one area where I do have a very specific problem with it. And the problem is this. Using the Two-Way app, you can record a relative. In the case of the YouTube movie that I have listed here, it's someone's grandma. And you can record your grandma as what the company calls a holo avatar. That's a phrase that they coined, in a variety of different settings before that person passes. Then, after that person dies, you can use Two-Way's AI features to have conversations with her or that person that seem relevant and up to date. So the AI is taking what it knows about this person and is reshaping it and making it be able to talk to you as though that person has come back from the dead. And I don't think that Two-Way assumes that they're bringing that person back from the dead, but they are representing that person as coming back from the dead. And so they can talk to you about events that are happening in your life. You can view Two-Way's representation of this idea on YouTube. There's the link there. Now, this film is wonderfully crafted. It's very touching and very moving, so you should go out and watch it and see what you think of it. However, here's the problem. The app might be useful for other intended purposes that Two-Way talks about, such as interactive AI tutors. That's a great idea. Or companions, or now we start getting into this really fishy word, guides, one of whom happens to be an astrologer, so immediately I'm out. I know that astrology is not from God. It is forbidden by God. I would never download the Two-Way app, because just by having an astrologer talking to me, now I know that this is not the place where I need to be. But the use of Two-Way as a method of keeping your grandma alive as a holo avatar is, well, necromancy. More clearly put, it is deception, it is delusion, and it is forbidden in the scriptures. Well, what do you think? This is a short movie. I did want to bring this to you. I'll put the sources down. You can go look this up, do some research on your own, see what you think of this. Personally, as a Christian, if you're a Christian, I would recommend to you that you do not download or install or use the two-way app, no matter how wonderful it seems to be. This is delusion. This is deception. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would, first of all, click the like button. Tell me that you like the video. Subscribe to my channel. I am trying to grow the channel, and I'm looking at different features, different things that y'all might be interested in to help me grow the channel. And I'm not after necessarily monetizing it. I just enjoy teaching this kind of content. Please tell your friends about the channel, and then you're welcome to leave comments if you so desire. And I would offer to you today, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Have a blessed and wonderful day, and may God richly bless you.